The silent enemy isn't always a thunderous storm or a sudden tragedy. Sometimes it's the quiet weight of meaninglessness. It's the feeling of a day stretching into an endless gray expanse where success rings hollow and joy feels like a distant echo. Many of us know this struggle, a silent battle fought in the privacy of our own minds. But what if the cure for this modern malady wasn't a pill, a platitude, or even a pursuit of happiness? What if the answer was found in the very depths of human suffering itself? This is the radical, almost unbelievable insight of a man who survived the worst humanity has to offer and emerged not broken, but enlightened. His name was Viktor Frankl, and in the crucible of the Holocaust, he discovered an unshakable logic that could be the ultimate antidote to the depression and despair that haunt our modern world. This is his story, a story that holds the key to transforming your own suffering into a source of unbreakable strength. Stick with us until the end, because by understanding Frankl's journey, you might just find a new way to see your own. If this journey into meaning resonates with you, please consider giving us a thumbs up and sharing your thoughts in the comments below.
Our story begins in Vienna, the heart of an empire in decline, and a city pulsating with intellectual fervor. This was the Vienna of Sigmund Freud and Alfred Adler, a place where the human mind was dissected and debated in cafes and lecture halls. It was here, in the early 20th century, that Viktor Frankl came of age. A brilliant and precocious student, he found his calling not just in medicine, but in a quest to understand what truly motivates us. He believed that while Freud saw pleasure and Adler saw power as the primary drivers of human action, both were missing a deeper, more fundamental truth. Frankl proposed a third school of thought, the will to meaning. For him, the ultimate human drive was to find purpose, to see a reason for our existence. As a young doctor, he applied these ideas, working with thousands of patients to help them find a why to live. He was on the cusp of a revolutionary new theory, meticulously documenting his ideas in a manuscript he called The Doctor and the Soul. This manuscript, the sum of his life's work, was his entire intellectual legacy. But as the shadows of Nazism fell over Austria, Frankl was forced to confront a truth far more brutal than any theoretical debate. The intellectual world he cherished was about to collapse, and his will to meaning would be tested in a way no one could have ever imagined. He had a chance to escape to America, but a powerful moral dilemma forced him to stay. He chose to stand by his elderly parents, a decision that would seal his fate and lead him directly into the darkest chapter of human history.
Frankl's choice to stay in Vienna was a moment of profound personal sacrifice, but it was just the first step into an abyss. In 1942, he and his wife, along with his parents, were deported to the Theresienstadt concentration camp. It was there, amidst the initial shock of starvation and brutal conditions, that his father, the man whose moral guidance had kept him in Vienna, died of starvation and pneumonia. But the family's tragedy was far from over. Frankl, his wife, and his mother were later sent to Auschwitz, the name that stands as a chilling symbol of ultimate evil. Upon arrival, they faced the infamous selection process. An SS officer simply pointed a finger, one direction for forced labor, the other for the gas chambers. In that split second, Frankl's mother was sent to the left, his wife and he to the right. He never saw his mother again. His beloved wife, Tilly, would later die of typhus in another camp, Bergen-Belsen. In the span of a few years, Frankl had lost everything: his home, his family, his life's work, and the very foundation of his identity. Yet it was in this state of total loss, stripped of all that made him a man, that his philosophy, once a theoretical concept, became a powerful, life-saving reality. He had to rebuild his entire worldview from scratch, finding a purpose not in what he had lost, but in what he had left. It was a purpose that, for him, was found in a small, almost imperceptible space between stimulus and response, the ultimate freedom of attitude. In the brutal reality of Auschwitz, where survival was a daily miracle, Frankl clung to a single burning question. What meaning could there possibly be in this living hell? The physical and psychological torment was relentless. Inmates were stripped of their clothes, their hair, their names, reduced to mere numbers. Starvation gnawed at their bodies, and the constant threat of death hung heavy in the air. Yet, amidst this dehumanization, Frankl observed something remarkable. Some individuals, even in their darkest moments, retained a flicker of inner freedom, a capacity to choose their attitude in the face of unimaginable suffering. This observation solidified his core belief. Even when everything else is taken away, the freedom to choose one's response remains. But the loss of his family wasn't the only devastating blow. In the chaos of the camp, his precious manuscript, The Doctor and the Soul, was lost. A lifetime of intellectual work reduced to ashes. This loss was almost unbearable. It felt as if his very reason for living, the purpose he had so passionately believed in, had been extinguished. In a moment of profound despair, Frankl felt the abyss of meaninglessness open before him. Yet it was in this very moment of utter desolation that a new seed of meaning began to sprout. He realized that even if his past work was gone, the potential to create something new, to share his insights born from suffering, still remained. This realization became his lifeline, his why to survive the how of Auschwitz. In the face of unimaginable brutality, Frankl didn't just passively endure, he actively sought meaning. He observed his fellow prisoners, noticing that those who had a future goal, a person to return to, or a task to complete, were more likely to survive. He recalled the image of his wife constantly, imagining conversations with her, finding strength in her memory. Even in the most degrading circumstances, he found opportunities for small acts of love and kindness, sharing his meager rations or offering a word of encouragement. These acts, seemingly insignificant, became powerful affirmations of his humanity and the humanity of others. It was during this time that the seeds of his life's work, logotherapy, meaning-centered psychotherapy, began to truly take root. He realized that even in the absence of external purpose, individuals could find meaning in their suffering, in their attitude towards that suffering, and in their love for others. He even found meaning in the act of trying to rewrite his lost manuscript in his mind, clinging to the hope that one day he might be able to share his insights with the world. The horrors of the camp became his ultimate laboratory, a brutal proving ground for his theories about the human will to meaning. He discovered that even in the most extreme circumstances, the ability to choose one's attitude towards what happens to you, to choose one's own way, remains the last of the human freedoms.
The greatest challenge, Frankl realized, wasn't the physical torment, but the psychological slow death that came with losing hope. He witnessed how some prisoners would simply give up, a look of utter emptiness in their eyes. They would refuse to get out of bed, to eat their meager rations, or to work. Their will to live was gone, and their bodies soon followed. But Frankl saw that others found a way to fight back. He found his own meaning by imagining himself as a lecturer in a warm, well-lit hall, explaining his psychological theories and his experiences in the camp to a receptive audience. This wasn't a delusion. It was a powerful act of defiance, a way of asserting that his mind, his inner world, remained free. He found meaning not only in the hope of a future, but in the simple beauty of a sunset, a shared joke, or a kind word. These small moments became powerful evidence that the human spirit could not be entirely extinguished. It was in these stolen moments of reflection that he solidified his most profound insight. The ultimate freedom is the freedom to choose your attitude.
Even in a place where every external freedom was taken away, the inner choice of how to respond to suffering remained. This unshakable inner freedom was his and his fellow prisoners' last, most powerful weapon against the evil that surrounded them.
After years of deprivation and suffering, what Frankl learned in the concentration camp became the basis of his most important theory. He discovered that the search for meaning is not just an intellectual aspiration, but a fundamental necessity of human existence. Life, he argued, does not ask us, "What can I expect from life?" but rather, "What does life expect from me?" The question is not what we can get, but what we are called to give. This simple yet profound shift in perspective was the key that disarmed the despair of many prisoners. They were not passive victims. They were the authors of their own response to suffering. For Frankl, meaning can be found in three ways: through work, creating something; through love, caring for someone; and most importantly, through suffering, finding a heroic attitude in the face of inevitable pain. This last way of finding meaning was the most radical, for it meant that even in the darkest circumstances, life did not lose its value. The ability to transcend one's own pain and find purpose in it was Frankl's greatest lesson to humanity. It is proof that even when the outside world is a landscape of horror, the inner world can remain a citadel of freedom.
And so, we arrive at the heart of Frankl's insight, the story of a man who, stripped of everything, chose to find meaning in the ashes of his life. He didn't just survive the Holocaust, he found a way to transcend it, proving that the human spirit possesses a defiant strength that can be found in the darkest of places. His logic, that the greatest freedom lies in our attitude toward suffering, isn't just a historical footnote, it's a compass for our modern world. In a time where depression and anxiety are rampant, Frankl's message is more vital than ever. He teaches us that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can always choose our response. The meaning of your life isn't a secret to be discovered, but a choice to be made in every single moment, in every single challenge. It's a choice to find purpose, to serve others, and to love even in the face of despair. And as we conclude this profound journey, we thank you for staying with us and for exploring this incredible story. If Frankl's message has touched you, we encourage you to like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe to our channel for more content that seeks to uncover the deepest truths of the human experience. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Until next time, may you find the strength to turn your suffering into purpose.